Hello and good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Elite Weather. My name is Mr. G, your meteorologist. Thank you for joining me today as we have a exciting forecast to talk about with you guys today. Our city of the day is Atlanta, Georgia. Let me step over here so you can see it a little bit better. I know we have the radar there. So, but you are seeing Central. This is Olympic Park here in Atlanta. You're seeing those clouds out there. We saw a big line of thunderstorms move through earlier in the day today, and another round of showers is currently moving on through town, headed off toward the north and northeast. There, as part of that big system that's going to be associated with the nor'easter that's going to hit New England mainly tonight and through the day tomorrow. We're going to see that big snowstorm. So the forecast has adjusted a bit. The heavy snow band is forecast to shift just a bit south, just south enough that now New York City is going to be in the winter storm warning. So now we're going to be looking at 8 or 9 inches of snow down across the New York City and Long Island area now. So as that storm system is shifting a bit further to the south and southeast. So, and we are going to take a look at our radar here. As you can see on the radar, you can see what's going on out there. And we are seeing that here's Atlanta right there, and there's that rainfall. But let's take a look at the radar, a bigger picture of what's going on with that big East Coast storm. So now that we're looking at our radar and we can see that big storm here on the East Coast, those showers and thunderstorms moving across Georgia and into South Carolina. South Carolina as well. We saw those showers and thunderstorms moving through earlier today as they make their way up I-95 up toward the northeast there as our big nor'easter begins to take shape because the southern stream storm is going to phase with the northern stream storm that came in out of the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes. That's going to be making its way toward the northeast, so they're going to phase as we have a nor'easter beginning to develop there, and that's going to bring the heavy snow from Boston down to New York City. So now let's take a look at our maps and talk about this storm in detail. Alright, so we're going to be moving right along with today's weather forecast as we talk about that big storm on the East Coast. And we're going to be seeing those severe thunderstorms in and throughout the southeast for the remainder of today to parts of North Florida. And we're going to be seeing a heavy rain up into the mid-Atlantic. And this is going to be seeing the heavy snow into Tuesday up here through the New England and down through parts of the mid-Atlantic and the interior portions of the Appalachians and the Ohio Valley as well, through parts of the Southern Plains. We're going to be seeing that heavy snow today And that part's going to wind down into Tuesday as the bulk of that snow is going to be over Pennsylvania, New York, Maryland, Virginia, and West Virginia. And we'll also see it in New Jersey, Delaware, Rhode Island, Connecticut, Massachusetts, parts of southern New Hampshire, southern Vermont, and far southern Maine. The southern two counties is under that winter storm warning as well. Here is your current radar across the southeast. Oh, I'm sorry, not the radar. This is the future radar. This is the radar projection of that storm as it makes its way across the northeast and into New England. Let me stand where you can see it a little bit better. You can see that rain. We can see the heavy rain starting off. It's going to start off with that rain down to the south. And as that storm makes its way, then that snow is going to work its way in from the west. So that rain is going to change over to snow on the back end of the storm. So once that northeasterly flow starts to come in, that is going to change that rain over to snow as those temperatures will drop from the 40s and upper 30s or 40s down to 30, 32, where it'll be cold enough for that snow. So we're going to see prime temperatures and moisture for producing heavy wet snow, and that's going to be there for Philadelphia. You might pick up a couple of inches. DC, I don't think you're going to see as much snow, maybe an inch, but New York, you can pick up about a 6 to 8, Hartford 6 to 8, but Boston, we're looking at up to 12 inches of snow there in the Boston area. So we will see lower snowfall amounts over the interior portions with the storm as it shifts to the south. As the new projections is for it to shift a little bit further to the east and to the south. So the heavier snow is actually going to be closer along the I-95 corridor. So from the northeast down towards the southwest along the coastline. So Boston down to Washington, we're going to be seeing those conditions favorable for heavy snow. So here is your winter weather alerts here across the east. Let me stand over here so you can see that a little bit better, that winter weather, those winter weather alerts across the northeast. So we have that winter storm warning for southern Massachusetts, which includes Boston. But you see we just have a winter weather advisory for western Massachusetts. Far southern New York, we have a winter storm warning. Connecticut, Rhode Island. You see it northern New Jersey. And also central Pennsylvania as well. You can see that winter weather advisory. Winter storm warning. The light blue or gray there is the winter weather advisory. So we have winter storm warning. So that winter storm warning now is in effect because winter storm conditions will be possible within 12 hours. Within the next 12 hours, we're going to be seeing those winter storm conditions developing across the northeast and the big cities this time. Get a chance at some real snow for the first time since 2022. Okay, here's your snow forecast for the northeast. So Boston, you're going to be about that 12-inch snow. You're going to be the champion of the Snow Bowl this go around. We're going to see that 12 inches of snow. But as we go down the coastline, New York City's going to be now picking up about 8 inches of snow, which is that change in the forecast. So the heavier snow is going to start to fall a little bit further to the south. So Long Island, New York City is going to be in the 8-inch range now. 6 to 8 is what you can expect as far as snowfall is concerned across the northeast and New England. Look at that heavy rain. This is our future radar. Again, another look at that storm as it comes through. Okay, here is a comparison of the Euro and the GFS. Now, they're pretty much in good agreement now. You can see that this is a GFS model. This one here is the European model for medium range weather forecast. We call it the ECMWF forecast model. And this is usually have been the model that's been better as far as these short range to medium range forecasts. The GFS usually is more ambitious. And it started off that way, but But now you can see that they're more closely aligned. The only real difference is maybe the positioning of the storm and intensity of rainfall before switching over to the snow. But it's pretty much close to in close agreement now. Far less distance between the two models at this time. Okay, so on this map, here's what we're going to be looking at tonight. And we're going to see that snow move in about midnight or so. So about late evening, midnight, or in the overnight hours, that snow is going to start. As that winter storm warning is going to be in effect from, they say, what, 4 a.m. tomorrow morning, 4 a.m. to 6 p.m. tomorrow on Tuesday. 4 a.m. to 6 p.m. for New York City is that winter storm warning. So we're going to see those temperatures. That precipitation is going to move in later in the evening. So we're going to see that rainfall before midnight. So by the time you go over for supper tonight, that rain is going to start moving in. So it's going to start off as rain. Some of that rain could be heavy. Some thunder could also be possible. Some rumbles of thunder. And the heavy rain, and we're going to see those high winds as well. Some of those winds, it could be as high as 40 miles per hour. Here is a look at your weather forecast for Tuesday. As our low pressure center is going to come from the west because we have that type B nor'easter. So the low actually comes from the mainland instead of coming up from the southeast. Because it's going to come to the mainland, off the mainland, link up here with the southern stream. So you're going to see them fuse together, and the two is going to head on off toward the northeast. We're going to see those winds increase. We might see some bomb cyclone action take place where the storm is going to intensify rapidly. So we're going to see those 40 to 50 mile per hour northeasterly winds coming over around the circulation here. We're going to see that those northeasterly winds blow in. So we're going to see it. Those very high winds are also, and heavy snow is going to also wrap around this area of low pressure, push all the rain off to the east, where the north and the west is going to be mostly that heavy snow. So we're going to see that nor'easter really take shape and kind of maybe even become a bomb cyclone. That's exciting. Here is a look at it on and this is the European, the Euro model consensus. This is different models put together, and these are the various solutions. Those little L's you see are the various solutions, and you also see that it's kind of combined together. So it's a consensus of a lot of different weather forecast models to go into the ensemble. That's the word I'm trying to remember. Ensemble. Wow. So here's a look at the winds. We can see those winds at about 50 miles per hour. See, even the winds have increased from the previous model run as well. So now the models are depicting the winds to be about 20 to 30 miles per hour over the land. But out over the waters, you can see those winds 40 to 50 miles per hour out over the Atlantic Ocean, out over the ocean. But over the landmass, we're going to see those winds down to 30, maybe some areas it could gust as much as 40. So a lot of winds and blowing snow is going to be the order of the night tonight as that storm makes its way. So with that northeasterly wind coming off of the water to the land, is going to see some coastal flooding and land erosion as well. So Nantucket and Long Island, especially, going to see those roads that might get washed out. Like if you have roads that are right along the beach, or beaches like Long Beach and places like that where there's a road that kind of goes right along, you can see issues where those might flood because of high waves coming over from the ocean there. It's going to be right along the coastline, so we're going to see those high winds blowing through. Exciting. Very exciting. Okay, so what is a nor'easter? Mr. G keeps saying, hey, I got a nor'easter coming. Okay, a nor'easter is a powerful Coastal storm with strong northeast winds typically form between Georgia and New Jersey. They usually develop, and most frequent from September through April. Coastal low. So we have a Miller, type A Miller. Don't worry about that. It's just the guy that invented all this mess right here. He invented all of the term nor'easter and what it is and all that kind of stuff. So we're gonna go with a type A. So a coastal low originates over the warm Gulf waters. So further down to the south by like Florida, over the Gulf, or over the Gulf of Mexico. They usually form over the Gulf of Mexico, move across Florida, over into the Atlantic, and then once it crosses Florida, it heads up the northeastern shore coastline up to the northeast. So usually those tend to be warmer. They produce more rain than snow. The snow is going to be further inland with those, the type A. So lighter precip inland, that can shift with the track. Kind of what we're seeing with this track, even though this storm is a type B, the track can shift. So we're going to see typically a typical pattern. The heavier snow and precipitation is inland, and you see lighter rainfall along the coast. And then we see the coastal low track impacts the precipitation type. So if the storm is closer to the mainland with the type A, it's going to be more, you're going to see rainfall. If it's further out a little bit, you can see more snowfall here along the coastline or the 95 corridor. So the snow sets up, depends on how far or how close to the coastline the storm is, and the precipitation shield and type, like where the snow line sets up. If it's in April or September when the weather is still warm and it's not cold enough for snow, then that makes a difference to the time of the year. So if it's not winter, you can see that. Here is the type B nor'easter. So energy transfers from a primary to coastal low. So like this storm we have now, we had that, remember we saw the snow, that snow all over, like the snow that's falling across, that fell in, even that snow we saw in Arizona, like the other day, that's almost 40 inches of snow across Arizona, right? In the southern plains, that storm system is currently dumping snow across, like, the western side of the Appalachian Mountains. It's currently right here to the west there, and it's going to be moving across. It's going to be moving out, moving toward the mid-Atlantic. So it's going to sort of fuse together with the coastal low, the weaker low, or this one can dissipate. So this one will dissipate, and this low will take its place, and then head up the eastern seaboard. So the energy transfers from the primary low to the coastal low because they fuse together, or this one dissipates altogether. Lighter precip in between lows can shift with track. Coastal low impacts precipitation type. So when the storm hits, once the storm crosses off of the mid-Atlantic coastline, off of North Carolina and Virginia, off to the over the waters, then that's really going to line up where the snow. So right now the models are indicating that snow shift, that low means it's going to be further out, a little bit further away, and I was expecting that and suspecting that was going to happen because we have kind of a smaller Bermuda high. It's a little bit further to the west. You can think El Nino for that. So that's going to allow the coastal low to be a little bit further away from the coastline. So that's going to make for the snow band to be closer to the 95 corridor, meaning the big cities, New York, Boston, Hartford, Philly, all those places, D.C. That's going to make the snow line closer to those areas, which is why we're going to see the heavy snow in Boston and New York and Philadelphia. Some heavy snow in Philadelphia, but not as much as New York and Boston. You might pick up a few inches or more, So we also have a bunch of severe weather, a lot of tornadoes and stuff down across the south. So we've been looking at we have what this is called an elevated. So in National Weather Service terms. Like this map says, possible basically in National Weather Service language would say that's a marginal slight risk. The likely, this one here is likely, but it's a slight risk as far as the National Weather Service things that they use. Or this one here would be elevated. So we are looking at a slight risk for severe weather down here across the deep south and the southeast. So the Florida Panhandle, Tallahassee, Jacksonville, Atlanta, or south, well, Macon, Tifton, Savannah, Charleston. You guys are in that slight risk, marginal risk elsewhere. So North Carolina, northern South Carolina, North Georgia, northwestern side of Alabama, central Florida. You guys will be in that marginal risk for showers and thunderstorms. That means that you're going to see isolated severe thunderstorms. But if you're in the red, that's going to be scattered severe thunderstorms. Usually this means they're more numerous. Tornadoes can occur with whether you have a marginal risk, a moderate risk, or an elevated risk, or whatever. Tornadoes can occur if you have severe thunderstorms, whether they're a marginal risk. That just means that how strong or how widespread, if they're going to be isolated to scattered to numerous, and that's what determines your risk factor. Okay. All right. So we have active watches in place right now. There is a tornado watch across parts of the Florida Panhandle, Tallahassee, and southwestern Georgia. There is a tornado watch in effect in that area. And here is a look at where our thunderstorms are right now across the southeast. You see them coming in across Florida. Going to be moving into Jacksonville shortly, and Charleston and Savannah. You're going to be dealing with those severe thunderstorms in just a little bit. They've cleared Atlanta. Things will start to wind down a bit across Atlanta and Alabama and Mississippi as well. But Tennessee, you're going to be in the rain for a bit. Still some thunderstorms in your area. And we're going to still see that snow across Arkansas, Missouri. That snow area is going to be hitting across the southern Ohio Valley. So Kentucky, southern Illinois, Indiana, southern Ohio, West Virginia, and into Pennsylvania. That's going to kind of start all the snow. And you'll see that snow as it crosses West Virginia and southern Ohio into Pennsylvania. You'll see it spread across New Jersey and Massachusetts and Connecticut and Rhode Island and New York. You'll see it spread out across those areas as we go through time and into tomorrow morning. So with all of that rain falling across the southeast and those thunderstorms, we're going to see flash flooding. So we do have a flood alert across the south from North Georgia, central Alabama, northern 2/3 of South Carolina, southern North Carolina, and western North Carolina. We do have some heavy rain that is going to lead to a flood threat and flash flooding threat as well. Exciting. All right, so here is our flash flood threat across the southeast. So we're going to see that across Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina mostly, and a little bit across North Carolina as we last mentioned on the last slide there, or the last map. So here we are. Here's our rain to fall for still to come. We're still looking at about 1 to 2 inches of rain across the folks here in central Georgia and North Carolina and southern South Carolina. Still about 2 inches of rain, but some of y'all will be about an inch or less. A lot of y'all will be an inch or less, and a lot of y'all have a less than half inch. So a lot of rain still to go, but it's gearing up for the dump all that snow across the northeast. So get ready, guys. It's coming. It is coming. If it's not already raining, the raining is just the introduction to the storm. It's going to change the snow, and that snow is going to be heavy. You might even see some thunder snow with that high winds as well. So get ready. That will be exciting. Thunder snow is cool. So maybe we can catch another video of Jim Cantori getting excited if he sees thunder snow. He absolutely loves thunder snow. Jim Cantori does. All right, so guess what, guys? If you're in the northern tier of the northern part of the country, which includes my area in Minneapolis, so we might get to see the aurora borealis tonight and tomorrow. depending on how clear the skies are. So we're going to have 46% coverage in those skies because there was a coronal mass ejection, a CME, a pretty big one. So it's blasting us with those rays from the sun, those ultraviolet rays from the sun. So we got a nice little solar storm going right now. So we're going to see the auroras tonight and tomorrow. And we're going to be able to see it down across the northern United States. So the New England, you're not going to see it. 62% visibility, cloud cover. So you're not going to see it. 17, going to be okay in Chicago. 17% cloud cover. So you're going to be right on the edge of being able to see it. 46% cloud cover here in Minneapolis. So we got almost about a 50-50 chance of being able to see it, depending on if you're over a clear spot where there's no clouds directly overhead, or if you can see to the north. If you can see to the north a little bit, and at night, especially right around midnight, is going to be the best time to see it. So if you're in the northern here, and if you're in Canada, you have an even better shot at seeing the aurora. It's just going to be cloudy. And here's what we're going to see for tomorrow. Again, 42%, a little less favorable tomorrow here in the Twin Cities, but only by a couple points. So again, a beautiful time. We hope it clear enough skies to see them, and I just hope they're vivid. We've had them before, and it's hard to see them because in the city you have a lot of light pollution in there to the north. You're not going to see them right overhead, not mostly. Maybe, sometimes, every now and then, every few years, we'll get one that you might be able to see it overhead. But it's always cloudy, so you never get to see it. Alright, so that'll do it for the weather forecast for today, guys. Thank you for joining me and watching me here on TikTok, YouTube. Leave your likes and comments and subscribe to the channels, okay, guys? Bye-bye.